Brainy, record my surface thoughts until told otherwise.
Recording.
Hello to whoever is listening to this neural journal. I know nobody can hear this unless I download it to a device capable of holding it or share it with another person with a neural interface. But I'm going to say hi anyway and welcome you all to the 27th century. If you don't know what a neural journal is, it's a tiny chip that's part of the neural interface installed in the cerebrum of my brain. As for how I get the journal to work, I basically order the interface I named Brainy to record my thoughts and store them in my personal neural journal. I usually do it mentally, but it can be done verbally. Why the weird name? I was 4, okay? Besides, you think Brainy's weird? One of my spacer friends named her interface Quark. Anyway, the neural journal alone can hold up to 1,000,000 petabytes of data. You think that's insane? Don't even get me started on the main implant itself, which can interface with any device that runs on electricity. Yeah, buttons and switches are pretty much obsolete. Oh, where are my manners? My name is Rowan Jackson. I'm 14 years old, 5 foot nothing, and 140 pounds when I last weighed myself. Yeah, I do have a bit of a tummy, but what girl my height doesn't in these days of post-scarcity? Ever since the invention of fabricators and nanomachines, life couldn't be better. Gone are the days of homeless and unemployed people looking like walking twigs by choice or otherwise. There aren't any seriously overweight people either. I only know what they look like from pictures dating back 500 years ago. Now, in this society, healthy is the new, stellar. At least according to my space-bound friends. I swear their slang is hard for me to get around, and some of them are on this colony ship. They say I'm a stress major and I should sweat minor. What the hell is this, Xenon? Spacers, I'm telling you. But word of advice, don't make fun of their lingo or they'll get mad. Spacers aside, all the food is made with a healthy weight and proper nutrition in mind. Even the food that doesn't look healthy is created that way. It even cuts you off after you've hit your caloric and nutritional allowance, which has been climbing over the years. Why? The average height of human males and females has risen into the 6-foot range and fast approaching 7. Why the giants? It's because of the increase in proper nutrition, genetic manipulation tech, and free healthcare. Yep, just about everyone I've met can lean on my head. I'm just short because my mother is short and my family is old-fashioned. Nope, I'm not joking about the free healthcare. The entire system has been revamped in this post-scarcity era, and our taxes cover everything that used to require insurance. Hospital bills are a thing of the past. We don't even use physical money anymore. We just use credits earned from jobs with equal pay across the board. The governments do take taxes in the form of 25% of our pay, and it's only going to go up with 0 points discovery. But they have to keep things running somehow, and it's not like clerks are the only ones who get taxed. Everyone with a job is taxed, and you need a job to get around in this society. Most forms of government assistance went out because the seriously disabled or terminally ill were essentially weeded out by science. Hell, the word terminal isn't even in our vernacular anymore unless it's a machine. The only time you're going to get any assistance is when you're really old. That assistance is usually a one-way ticket to a habitation module where you'll be waited on by nurses and doctors until you kick the bucket. Okay, that sounded bad. Maybe I should mention some of the drawbacks. So, we basically send what we see as useless off-planet into a metal box until they die, and they're usually cremated unless they want something specific done with their body. If it can be done, grave sites are a bit hard to come by. We still have some petty prejudices against each other. The highest forms of our society often look down on what they consider primitive and those who don't fit society's mold. They may not judge people by the color of their skin, but they will judge people by their physical and mental health. I'm not going to lie, many things in our society are compulsory. Zygotal manipulation, the education system, getting a job, and following the laws are just a few of a lot of things that are mandatory. If you don't comply, the government's cronies will step in and see to it that you comply. Privacy is almost non-existent. You are constantly being watched on planet and in the habitation modules by the same nanomachines that assist us in so many ways. There is no way to commit crimes in secret because there is always a camera watching your every move. There have been attempts by criminals to disable the nanomachines, but with every billion they manage to disable 1 trillion, we'll fly in through every crack and crevice to survey them. You get used to it after a while, and I see the reasons as to why we're constantly watched. But it can be disturbing for old-fashioned minds like my family. That's not even mentioning space-bound criminals like pirates, terrorists, and crime lords that we have to deal with on a semi-regular basis. The nanomachine cameras do not work off-planet because the signal only goes as far as its moon. So criminals are moving to space to remain relevant and are now more dangerous than ever, mostly because the laws are so lenient and authorities were stretched thin in space. The most infuriating part, we're just now getting it under control with 0 points discovery because its properties are a heavily guarded secret. Ugh. Well, there's no such thing as a perfect society. At least we don't get seriously sick anymore. We never have any form of want or need. Crime is almost non-existent on planet. Almost everyone has an education. Unemployment is nearly always at 0%. And there are no confusing tax forms like in the scarcity era. You need like 3 degrees to understand those. Speaking of degrees, education is completely free. They work with every individual and teach them in ways they are comfortable via education terminals that come with your home. Just interface with the device and it will automatically know who you are, what you need to know, and the best way to teach you. They teach the basics from history to math and everything in between. They even teach things that are essential, like how to get a job, manage utility bills, driving a hover car with a stick shift. You name it, the terminal can teach it. If you want a career, that's up to you since every job pays equally. But people still like to pursue their passions. Personally, I want to be a xenobiologist and I'm learning all sorts of things that could potentially exist in and around alien creatures. I'm just finishing the biological aspect of the courses. Sure, it's all theoretical, but with where we're going, my expertise might come in handy once I graduate in a year or 2. As for how we power everything, we use renewable sources. The sun, water, wind, antimatter, and sometimes nuclear. But those are fast becoming obsolete with the newly discovered 0-point power. The effects on the environment from 400 years back have long been reversed and we'll make sure it stays that way. Yes, we've lost many species to climate change and worse, but we are finding ways to bring them back and repair ecosystems that have been lost to our wasteful ways. Everything we'll ever need is made by fabricators. From food to construction materials, just interface with the fabricator and think of what you want. It's amazingly cheap compared to scarcity. I can't believe a soda used to cost the equivalent of 300,000 credits. That's the cost of a whole damned Leviathan-class planet cracker, and those things make most vessels look like ants. Or maybe it's the cost of a Hawking-class science ship. Or maybe a Constitution-class cruiser. Or maybe it was a Hermes-class scout ship. Oh well, I never was good at economics. Anyway, thanks to fabricators, wars over resources are a thing of the past. We still have wars for other reasons, but they are often diffused before they start. Yes, we are still somewhat fractious because everyone is so different from one another. I would be amazed if the entire planet manages to completely unite under one flag. I'll give us credit in that we're fairly close to true unification. All of our government superpowers are united in an empire called the United Terran Republic. We value individuality and equal rights above all. Slavery is a huge no-no and is the most common cause of wars in this day and age. But we haven't had a major war in over 200 years because we have everything we need. Everyone is free to worship whoever, and nobody wants to cross the UTR or any companies associated with them. What rights do we have? Honestly, it would be easier to name the rights we don't have. Weapons are pretty heavily regulated unless you have a permit, served in the military, and/or have been psychologically evaluated. You are not allowed to physically alter yourself on Earth, which will not last for much longer if the protests are anything to go by. Sapient and replicating tech are strictly forbidden, due to their tendency to want to kill organic life. You can't really have any privacy unless you're in deep space. There are also the standard laws of do not kill, steal, destroy property, walk around naked, litter, things that are basic common sense. Even with all its flaws, life couldn't be better. As usual, I'm getting off topic. Sorry in advance if that happens a lot. I'm autistic, you see, and I tend to ramble among other things. There is potentially a cure in the form of editing out the gene that causes it. But due to ethical reasons and the fact that my parents are old-fashioned, I'm still autistic. They only went for the basic package and solutions for what was supposed to be severe autism when I was still a zygote. They basically use genetics to spread out my speech center, which is why I often sound like I'm reciting poetry. They gave me a way to understand people, which doesn't always work. I still lose pieces of what people are trying to say, but my personal therapist is helping me with that. They also had specialized nanomachines installed that force me to calm down if I get close to meltdown. But even they can get overwhelmed if I'm really stressed out or experiencing any extreme symptoms. Nanomachines never do well when adrenaline is pumping. Everyone knows that. You're probably wondering about the basic package. The usual compulsory gene editing, increased brain capacity, augmented immune system, immunity to diseases, increased lifespan, the works. Also, a chip is installed at birth to prep us for the neural interface as it's being installed bit by bit until its completion at the age of 4. It basically gets us used to processing things really fast and decreases the likelihood of migraines as well as rejection. I'm not sure why I had the chip installed since I can already process things so fast that I had to have my neural interface custom made. Who did I get my condition from? It runs in my family like a river, but I definitely got it from Dad since he's the same way. He's the first officer of the Mayflower. Oh yeah, I forgot. My entire family and I are on this huge colony ship heading for the galactic barrier that separates the Milky Way and the cosmic ring. The ship is easily the size of the town I grew up in and holds several million people. Yeah, the historic reference is not lost on me. I watch a lot of old holovids. We are technically pilgrims sailing to the New World. The difference is that the New World is an actual planet, not a landmass. Also, this voyage is nowhere near as miserable as what those poor people went through. I have all the comforts of home here and then some. I swear the governments are trying to spoil us. A personal kitchen with a state-of-the-art food fabricator. An 80-inch hollow screen with over 100 million movies and shows dating from the 1900s all the way to the present day. My bed was made to my exact specifications. Not too firm, not too plush, soft as a kitten's fur, and auto-adjust to keep my spine aligned. There's an education terminal that was automatically set to my preferences. I even have my game sphere with me with over 10 million titles across every platform imaginable. I don't expect anything less from the ultimate gaming experience. There's even an old-fashioned water shower and dispensers for body wash, shampoo, and conditioner made just for me. It can be converted to a sonic shower with the typical deodorizer and hair care substances. But I'm pretty sure you can guess what I prefer. I basically have everything I could ever need. But my friends are right. I am a stress major, as they would say. Why? I'm still worried about the barrier. Yes, the crew assured me over and over that the barrier should be easy to cross according to evidence from the unmanned probes. I don't like should. Should is how genetic monsters were created in the 21st century that destroyed entire ecosystems, which is why we're so anal about extreme genetic alterations even if it's safe. Should is what caused the android uprising in the 22nd century, which led to the bombing of much of the Earth. It took almost a century for us to recover, and robots haven't been made sapient since. Should is responsible for replication tech going rogue in the 23rd century, which is now very illegal due to all the lives lost on the Mars colony, which had to be re-terraformed. That's why I don't like should. That word is the cause of enough disasters to fill an entire history book. Deep breaths, Rowan. Well, we're going into the barrier in a couple of days to see what's on the other side with our own eyes. But there are a few things I'm worried about, even though there are countermeasures. I'm worried about my poor snow globes, for one. I do have them in a box with each covered by shock absorbers. But I'm worried it won't be enough. I'm also worried something bad will happen to us in that weird energy. But all probes reported as EMPs and negative energy, which will only cause electrical interference, and our shields should keep us from blowing up. But who knows what will happen, and I still despise that word. Even if we do get through without incident, what if we run into hostile aliens? I know the probes report no life, but they only went as far as 100 light-years into the barrier before coming back. That's like taking a step outside and going back inside. I'm especially worried about the shitty radios we have. None of our transmissions will penetrate the barrier without getting absorbed by it. Even if something does get through, the transmission will be garbled as hell once it reaches our ionosphere. I know this project went over budget and passed the deadline at around the same time, but they should have given our scientists more time. Here's hoping they're able to find a way for signals to breach the barrier and link up with our new colony that the scientists call Terra Similis. From what I've heard, it's like Earth in almost every way except the magnetosphere and atmosphere are much thicker. The continents are all connected, and there's very little tectonic activity. Thank God, no more sunburns or quakes. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing. There's no life in the Milky Way after all. We've searched it from end to end and only found remains. Maybe the same can be said of this galaxy. Nothing but the bones of a long-dead civilization to study and decaying megastructures to repurpose. That would be sad if it's true. I hope we're not alone in the universe, even if the chances of life evolving on another planet are very slim. Humanity was extremely lucky as far as science is concerned. Then again, maybe this new galaxy has new rules and life is everywhere. Oh, I hope so. I hope they're nice. I hope they're cute. Hell, I hope they're nice and cute. Well, it's time for me to turn in for the night and get back to my courses tomorrow morning. I'll chat with you all after we get through the barrier.
Brainy, stop recording.
Recording stopped. Recording saved to Neural Journal.
Hey everyone, hope you loved the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe for more awesome sci-fi content. You can also support us by hitting the thanks button or becoming a channel member. Your generosity helps us bring you more stellar stories. Every bit counts. Thanks a bunch.